Welcome back to Hearing Things with Julie and Brad. We're so happy you're here. And before we jump in, we want to talk about our fantastic shirts that we are wearing. The ADA is short for the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it celebrates its 35th anniversary of being passed into law back in 1990. And it guarantees accessibility for housing, employment, healthcare, other accommodations. Closed captioning is part of it, for example. Building modifications to ensure that elevators and rooms and ramps are accessible for people with mobility challenges, and it goes on and on and on. A lot of gain was made with the passing of the ADA, but we are still fighting today for equivalency, access, respect, having our voices heard, and being in the places where conversations are happening. There's still a lot of about us without us going on, but that's a whole other 10 shows that I'm not going to go on one of my famous rants. But if you want a more humorous take on the ADA, be sure to go back to season 1 and find the episode about flashing fire alarms.
Oh, yes.
That's a good real-life example of the ADA in action. But anyway, we wanted to support the ADA today with its 35th anniversary by wearing our shirts. And if you have never heard of the Capitol Crawl in March of 1990, be sure to Google that. Maybe we can post a thing
good idea.
For people. That is one of the most visually powerful demonstrations I think I have ever seen from a group that is oppressed and is leading the charge for change. So I highly recommend you take a look at that. So I wanted to acknowledge that first. And I'm going to have Brad kind of take over today. He's going to be talking about interesting things, and I've already forgotten what those interesting things are. So I'm going to sit here and listen and pay attention for a change. And when you're ready, you can take it away.
Yeah,
and I'm going to learn right along with the audience, because I did not pay a bit of attention when you told me what we were doing.
See what I have to deal with?
See
what I have to deal with?
It's the chemicals of my hair products I think is making me a little nuts. Go ahead, go.
So we're going to talk about CPR and AEDs. And so I had training a few months ago at the library.
AED?
So the automatic. It's the. Let's see what it stands for. It stands for Automated External Defibrillator. Such a tough word to say. So the 2 pads you put on somebody's heart to chest to restart. Yeah. So we have one. We're a public place, so the library has one. And so at a staff meeting a couple of months ago, we had CPR and AED training, and I was struck by a couple of things that happened during the training, and I probably wouldn't have if we weren't doing our show, because now I'm walking about the world thinking about what can we talk to our audience about, because there's so many different instances where we struggle a little bit, or we're excluded because of the way the world is. Absolutely. And so I will say that the captain, I can't remember her name. I should have, maybe I'll find it and I'll put it in the notes because I want to give credit where it's due. And so the captain had a bunch of videos to watch, for us to watch. And the first thing she did was turn on the captions on the videos. Fantastic. So fantastic. The Wilmington Fire Department, she did a fantastic job, and I will track down her name to give her credit, because I didn't even ask for it. And I don't think she knew that I had a hearing loss. I do have my button at work, but she was busy setting things up, so she might not have. And so know that if you're in a situation and somebody just turns on the captions without being asked, that's what's supposed to happen. That's what the ADA is for, is we shouldn't have to ask for the accommodations. The people putting on trainings or presentations should already be thinking about it, and the organizers should already be thinking about it.
Should already be thinking about it in a way that's automatic, just as automatic as plugging in your laptop.
Right.
Not as automatic as in, let me interview the room and see if there are any disabled people here that might need this special accommodation, and then turn it on. Right. It should be part of practice no matter what. And that's the shift that we have yet to make consistently.
Right.
Continue.
It's encouraging to say, so you're absolutely right, but I do want to point out when things happen.
When things go right. And that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But just to clarify for the audience, because I'm like...
No, it's valid.
I'm on the border of a rant about this ADA right now. It's on my mind. Just want to point out that's not automatically happening every single time.
Yes. So great. Kudos to the captain at Wilmington.
Yes, awesome
I
job.
wanted to point it because it is Julie's right to be ranty, because it does not happen very often. So the other thing that happened was the AED. So you open the AED and it's got the pads and it's got a speaker, and the speaker gives you the instructions on how to place the pads, and I couldn't hear it. And so she turned it up enough where I could kind of hear it. But that's another thing that we run into with like automated systems is the speakers aren't meant to be played at maximum volume. So the higher you turn it up, the more distorted it gets.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
It was kind of tough. And so I mentioned it to her. I said that, like, okay, this volume kind of works for me because of context clues. I know what kind of information to expect from this automated voice. So I didn't hear every word because the distortion of the high volume made it harder for me to hear, ironically. And I mentioned it to her, and I'm like, this is something you probably want to be aware of because I have hearing aids, so the adjustment on the volume helped me a little bit. But what happens if you're completely deaf? You can turn it up as loudly as you want. And so I suggested, like, maybe, is there an LCD screen version where you have captions on it? Because this is important, right? Watching a movie with captions, yeah, it's important for us to be included and to enjoy it. But it's not life-threatening. Someone's heart stopping is life-threatening. So these machines should be a lot more accessible. And so I wonder where the ADA comes in this, because it's great to have the equipment, but this is a huge part of the population where you're not gonna be able to help. They have diagrams, so it's not like that. If you can't hear, you're not going to be able to figure it out. Because on the pads, they say place one here, and it gives you like a little diagram on the pad itself. But you have to wait for the charge in order to hit the button to deliver the shock to restart the heart. And I think there's like a light around it. So there are visual clues. But do you really want to roll the dice on if it's enough for someone? So I mentioned it to her. I mean, I didn't like lambast it. It's something that she can't do anything about. She didn't create the AED itself. But anytime I see a learning opportunity, I try to like get people thinking about accommodations for hearing, because it's something that I have a unique point, well, not a unique, but a less common point of view when I'm in a situation, and I can evaluate that situation for a hearing accommodation. So she was great. They were she had two lieutenants there. They were all very amenable to the input. There's not much they can do about it, but the more times you say something, I think the better it is, because it gets people thinking about it, even if they don't realize they're thinking about it, because they've heard it so many times.
Interestingly, as I'm listening to this, I'm also thinking about people with vision impairment.
Good point.
People with mobility issues, who may be working in situations where they have access to an AED and there's an emergency. That technology automatically shuts out more than just hearing loss.
That's a great point, because the AED is mounted on our wall. Somebody using a wheelchair, they wouldn't be able to reach it.
Visual impairment, I don't know if there's braille cues on the machine.
They would have been able to hear, right? So they probably would have been able to hear.
Right.
But you're right, it should have braille too, right? Why risk it in something that's literally life-threatening?
And this is just another example of, we've given you XYZ accommodation, so be satisfied with that. Rant. On the verge of a rant. Not going to do it.
Okay.
Just know when we stop this video, you might get an earful during lunch, but I'm not going to do it right now. But that's just another thought. And I think about emergency exits on planes. Do you really want me in charge in the emergency exit if something goes wrong? I won't be able to hear you.
Right.
But again, that's another example where I'm not able to participate in every single thing the society offers.
Yep.
So I'm gonna stop.
We're gonna shift to books real quick. Otherwise, this will go on forever.
But thank you for your research and your thoughtfulness with that.
It's this show has been great for me as well, and I hope it's helpful for everybody, because it does allow me to go about my day with a more discerning eye on situations. Because a lot of the things that we're talking about, I don't even realize I'm struggling with until I leaned into it. I think I mentioned in an earlier episode, I've really only been like admitting my hearing loss for like 5 years, and I've had hearing loss my whole life. And it's you internalize a lot of the oddest kind of mentality of the world. And we talked about it in another episode on another channel, so I'll briefly describe autism as just discrimination based on hearing ability or lack thereof. And so we are assumed to be able to hear the automated voice on the AED, and it's not true.
We are assumed that we have been accommodated enough with enough things that we will sit back and be satisfied, and that is not the case.
Yes.
35 years after the
Yeah.
passing of the ADA. And before he puts his hand over my mouth to stop me, we're going to move on to books because I am on the edge.
So why don't you go to your book first?
I'm going to do my book first.
Go to your book
I need
first.
help because it's French and I can't pronounce it. So Brad mentioned this series a while back and got me into it. And the first book is it's a mystery series that I can't pronounce. Flavia somebody.
Flavia Deluche.
Thank you. Flavia Deluche mystery. And it's 11 books so far? Maybe
I think
more
11.
Than that
I just read the 11th.
By Alan Bradley. And the first one that Brad reviewed was The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie. And now I'm reading number 2, which is The Weed That Strings the Hangman's Bag. I am in love with these books. They're great reads. They're entertaining. The mysteries are solid. Flavia is an 11-year-old amateur detective and chemist, and she is hysterical. She is brilliantly written. I identify with her on a visceral level. I die. I mean, it's just, if nothing else, just read her dialogue. Don't even read the whole thing. Just read every part where she shows up. It is hilarious, but it's so well written. So, Alan Bradley, thank you for bringing some awesome summer reads my way with your mystery series. So I wanted to bring that up again because I know you've done the first one, so I'm reviewing the second one, and it's just so much fun.
I'm so glad you enjoy it. There's nothing. So if you do read one of the books we recommend, let us know because we get a little bit of a thrill for that. Because I'm so glad you love it. I love that series. And as someone who reads so much, being able to not even just a librarian, it's just someone who reads a lot. It's so fulfilling and satisfying to recommend something to someone who likes as much as I do. And so I'm thrilled that you love the series because I thought you would. It's so good.
We should put out a master list.
I haven't.
Yeah, we should post that one day.
I have. It's linked. Media. So it's on. I use the Storygraph app, and so I have a shelf, and I add all the books, so I can post the link to the.
That would be awesome. As I think at this point we've done well over 100 book reviews because we usually do different ones.
Probably close because I think we've done like snacks, we've done beer, we've done movies, isn't
close
always
to 100.
Yes,
so there's a bunch of things for people to pick from.
So I'll link to it. I'll link to it. Awesome. I'll link to it in this episode since you mentioned it.
All right, we appreciate you guys tuning in.
Yeah. Can I do
you
my book? Nice. So I picked why.
Sorry.
Why We Read on Bookworms, Libraries, and Just One More Page Before Lights Out by Shannon Reed. And so I picked this book up because I like reading about reading, or reading about books. I go that meta, I guess you could say. And so Shannon Reed, she's hilarious, and she writes about the love of reading and how reading has got her through many times in her life. And I did not realize until I picked this book up, she has hearing loss. And she talks about how her hearing loss was an escape for her, and it was a relief for having to actively listen.
100%.
It was a way to recharge, and so it's a twofer. I recommend the book, and it's such a good book. It's nonfiction, and it's so gratifying to read about someone else who mentions their hearing loss. So, Why We Read on Bookworms, Libraries, and Just One More Page Before Lights Out by Shannon Reed. Pick it up if you like. She's just really funny. It's a quick read, so if you don't like books on books, essentially, I think you'll still enjoy it because not every chapter is that long. A couple of them have just lists of like how you know if you're in like an epic comedy or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a funny read, and for someone who loves to read and finds it restorative and has hearing loss, I saw myself in this book very, very often. Fantastic book. So now, with my book recommendation done, would you like to close the show, Julie?
Yes, thank you for listening and for supporting us. Be sure to check out all of our links. We are also participating in the Walk4Hearing in Boston, which may or may not have happened by the time this comes out. You may have missed it. But if it didn't happen yet, be sure to go and donate to us if you can on our Facebook page.
I'm trying to count. I think.
We don't know.
I think this is probably going to be cause. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. If it's before October 5th, give us a donation. If not, we'll catch you next year. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See you again. Bye.